A lot of people speak about balance and seeking balance. Now, my question for most of those, if not all of those people, is how they would define balance. Because we live in a sick society where apparently emotions are more important than anything. And when you speak about emotion, you speak first and foremost about subjectivity. When you have a world of subjectivity, that is a huge problem because subjectivity means anyone can interpret everything. Sure, there will always be subjectivity in whatever topic one embraces because everyone ultimately has their own experiences and their own background. But the point of a society, and especially a sane society, is that humans end up believing or embracing, especially and preferably with palpable truths, common grounds, common facts, right? Because, for example, an epitome of this would be the exact sciences, or whatever they're called. On this planet, mathematics, physics, and the such will always be the same. One may not say necessarily they will function the same outside of this planet or on other planets, or especially in other solar systems, or outside of the galaxy or outside of this solar system, because there are completely other forces at stake. But the sciences are, you know, let's say, stable in a way. They're going to be the same for each and every one. Philosophy and literature are kind of interpretable because, well, some people may know more about the background of the writers, some may know less, and some people may understand something, some people may understand something else. There is interpretability, but ultimately there is always something general that people end up agreeing because that is what it means to have somewhat of a sane society. When it comes to balance, a lot of people think balance is this, balance is that, but the problem they face, or most people face, and that's why they also fail, is that they seek balance outside of themselves. See, looking for balance outside of yourself is like looking for sanity in a sick society. You're not going to find it. Because if you want balance about yourself, see, you know probably of that practice. I think I've seen it a lot in the northern part with Nordic people, but I think it's in other places as well, which is called the balancing of the stones. You get certain stones with different shapes and you put them one over the other until you manage to make, let's say a mini statuette or a minaret, whatever you want to call it. You put each stone one over the other, preferably from greater to smaller, so that they all stay in a certain position that they don't fall, right? Similar to that, one may say the house of cards, right? While the house of cards are far more vulnerable than the stones, the very simple point is this is what most people are doing. They're trying to create a sense of balance in their life, and this is what a sick society excels at. It's giving you the idea that you have a sense of balance in your life. See, when you're extremely miserable and you're trying something completely new, let's say you pick up yoga or whatever else, see, there are very few people who know what yoga truly would be. Most of them are just deviants who want to make money out of people's passion and longing for mysticism. And they just teach you some incorrect ideas and whatever not. And when you're doing something for the first time, well, that's gonna simply pull you out of your misery because it's a good distraction. It will give you a sense of balance, but it doesn't mean you have achieved balance. Some people, yogis and the such, or each and every one of us ultimately, we spend living thousands upon thousands of lifetimes until we can, or each and every one of us may finally experience a life where one can feel balance. And typically, and well, though strangely, though, and a bit ironically, one may end up feeling a lot of balance or feeling well balanced within, typically in the thickest of situations. And that is a good lesson to learn. Sure, lessons are either learned and discarded or learned and you keep applying them. So when it comes to balance, a sick society will always mock things because nowadays, if you can see, a sick society embracing Satanism is all based on mocking Christianity. I, as a Christian, can't care much because it's all just a mumbo jumbo. It's all just a set of concepts. Whether you want to believe in the holiness of someone, you can believe in creation. You don't need to believe in someone or something. Just embrace creation as, that which created the whole universe. For me, a name and a shape are simply irrelevant. It doesn't matter what shape or whatever being was called or the such. If you want to talk to me about a religion, speak to me about the virtues that it supports and portrays. That is the only thing that matters to me, at least from a religion. Because a religion never teaches me anything about balance. It all teaches me about looking up there or looking at some paintings in a mosque or in a church and chant the same thing that other people are saying. This is giving up my power. This is externalizing my power because I have to pay attention to others. I have to pay attention to this and that. If I want to see creation, well, everything I can look at around is obviously part of creation. Whether we humans manipulated those resources into whatever we have now, the technology, the houses, the infrastructure, those are all still part of creation. All those resources we didn't create. We took them and we manipulated them into whatever we needed. We made use of those because that's basically intelligence. Making use of whatever you have to turn into something that will suit you, into something that will make your life better, easier. That is, in a way, intelligence. Now, if we look at things, balance is something that you need to find within. Because when you're a builder, for example, you need to build a balanced building. Because what is your building project? Just like with the house of cards, or when you're putting stones one over the other, or when you're building a complex structure. Ultimately, they seem to be nothing else but a battle against gravity, because gravity pulls everything towards it. So ultimately, when you put the stones in a wrong position, they will fall, because gravity has won over the building that you wanted to make. When you put the house of cards, you put the wrong one in a wrong location, they fall, and the house of cards breaks because, well, first and foremost, it never has a great foundation. And secondarily, well, the very simple point is, gravity wins sooner or later. You can build the strongest building ever with the greatest geometry. A better geometry of things, right? That is basically the answer for everything. When you put those cards perfectly one over the other, that means the perfect geometry. When you put the stones one over the other, it means one's geometry functions in such a way that it supports as well as possible the geometry of the one above. That's technically the subtlety that you're seeking, right? That you're seeking to fulfill when you're doing those things. When you're building a complex building, technically you're trying to do the same thing. You're building a great foundation and then you build the building, right? And you seek it to have a certain geometry so that the gravity won't win over it that soon. Sooner or later, all the buildings that we have built will dwindle. Let's say all of us humans will vanish or we move to another planet or whatever. And this infrastructure that we leave behind, well, will be now fully in the hand of nature. Well, nature will claim it in time. And some buildings will probably be inhabited by tall trees, and most likely they won't fall as easily. Some will simply crumble because, well, it's all part of their geometry. It's all part of how much they can withstand. Because there will be earthquakes, there will be the beating of the wind, humidity, all of these elements will play their role in the crumbling of everything that is physical. And these elements support, but at the same time can also help in the downfall. So when it comes to seeking balance, balance means aligning your inner, let's say, should we call it engineering? Should we call it geometry? People will call it in any possible way. But when we speak about our body, well, we have been birthed with a certain geometry. Now we grow and we go to school. Probably the tables are much smaller and we make our spine very, fucked up. We sleep in awkward positions and the such. These are all things that take a toll on us. Finding inner balance, well, requires a lot of things. One needs to live preferably in a consecrated space if they want balance, because the environment that you live in has a huge influence on you, and typically it's going to be far stronger. One needs to live in a situation where they're at least partly conscious of how they're keeping their spine, of how they're breathing, what they're eating, how they're eating, because everything is energy. When you accept everything or all energies within your body as if, from the idea that you're not worthy of those because you have abandonment issues or all sorts of issues, stemming from a sick society and, the specific upbringing of such societies. Well, unfortunately, that kind of information, if you receive it in the wrong way, it will have a wrong influence on you. So, balance is always something of the internal. One has to look within. And you see, we humans have a straight spine and a straight position when compared to the other animals. Most of the other animals, let's say, except gorillas and, chimpanzees, whom we are somewhat very close to apparently, typically, all other animals have their spine not erect. Their spine is parallel to the earth, and we humans and other animals who have a spine perpendicular to the ground allow it to become a transistor or a communicator device in between earthly energies and the energies of the universe. This allows one to create a certain balance within, which allows one to also reach higher levels of awareness. When we look at animals, they're all stuck in their survival mechanisms. It's fight or flight. We humans have been programmed to live in the same way of survival because this is the best and easiest way to rule the masses. But we humans are capable of reaching certain levels of awareness far greater than simply spirituality. Not Yes, well, spirituality, a lot of people practice some simple things. Spirituality can take you on greater heights than simply living in survival. And we know survival is survival of your physical body, survival of yourself or the persona, and obviously survival in this society. Survival as an individual, as a part of a society, be it healthy or sick. So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated, take care, and this being said, enjoy life. Ferenc Board signing out.